Hello everyone and welcome back to FTB Inferno. So previously we travelled through the nether portal back to the overworld. Our visit back to the sunshine though was very short-lived, only going to pick up the technology for the neutron collectors. I've been crafting a few more of these between episodes and we're currently at 11 ingots of neutronium. One of the other endgame materials we need along with neutronium is super dense plating for the Singularities. We expanded FTB machinery, adding 24 compressors here. And since we added this, well, that ate through basically all of our diamonds, emeralds, lead, silver and nickel. And we have nowhere near the amount of super dense plating we need to finish this pack. So today we have to address this issue head on. At least with the diamonds though, our situation seems to be stable. You may remember here that we expanded the bees. Well, I've since done a bit more expansion since the last episode. I made sure to max out all of the diamond bees. In fact, I've added 4 more beehives inside this apiary, and we're basically rolling in diamonds now. That is a very good thing because not only do we need diamonds for the Singularities, we also need it to keep crafting neutron collectors. Yeah, the redstone, there was a bit of an issue with our compressor setup. I have since fixed that, we're going to go over that later on. But that did mean that it ate through all the redstone, so that doesn't really help us at the moment. However, redstone we should also be able to get along with all these other ores, using a different method to what we already have. Currently, the only source of ore generation is with the dimensional mine shafts from occultism, and in fact these things are broken. And this one is all, oh my goodness, 6 durability left. I'm glad I caught this thing. Let's get this thing repaired, it's got mending, right? Alright, with the genie repaired, let's address the shortage of materials for the super dense plating. Well, the solution lies in the end dimension. At least according to the quest book, we can use immersive engineering to drill for ores. So normally what you would do in immersive engineering is take a core drill sample. We can power this with our new flux points. I think we right click once it has power. And this should give us a core sample to tell us which mineral is in the chunk. Yeah, the core sample here though, as you can see, is empty. There is nothing here. So we basically have to generate our own ore. We have to start by making dark gems. Wait, that kind of sounds like we're going to be cheating and stuff. No, we're not going to be cheating here. There is a custom way to do this in Inferno. First of all, we make up some dark power gems. We can run these through our blood altar to give us some sort of gemstone. The burning gemstone. I think we'll batchcraft a decent amount of these things. We're going to want definitely more than one. Oh nice, and they don't stack here. That's great. Anyways, we have to come over here to Ars Nouveau and actually enchant them using 2 amethyst shards, an Isnium ingot and the gemstone in the middle. And this should turn it into a living metal geode. Yeah, let's get all of these converted. Alright, awesome. These things fortunately do stack for us. According at least to the quest here, we also need some crying obsidian, some void stone, and a mineral deposit. From what I gather, this list right here is everything that we can excavate from the end. And would you look at that, there is the redstone that we need, the emerald that we need, lead, tin, aluminium, and nickel. So we'll probably get all of these things. We have 12 crying obsidian and 54 void stone. We got this from the end dimension. It was found in all of those structures next to the end cities. So I think this is everything we need for the ritual. Let's turn on chunk boundaries here. Yeah, the 4 void stone on the corners. The material we want to gather in the middle. And then 4 crying obsidian. And do we drop it? Do we right click? I think it's right click. The block has been consumed by the lands and resulted into a generous ore deposit. Aha, so what happens now when we give it a core sample? I'm assuming we're going to see redstone here. Aha, that looks different for sure. And we got cinnabar, which I'm pretty sure contains redstone. Cinnabar is a mineral that's found in the overworld. Well, I guess that's in vanilla immersive engineering. 60% redstone, 40% sulfur. And it looks like we get a chance of cobblestone, deep slate and gravel. I'm not sure that applies since we're in the end. But yeah, it seems that we can get basically any of those minerals that are listed in the quest here. So yeah, I guess before we sample for any of those, let's try to pull up the redstone that we found here. Or spawned here, I guess. 7577, that was higher than the beginning of the episode when I showed this, right? I don't remember now, I think it was. Anyways, to collect the resources, we're gonna have to use the excavator. It's been a very long time since I've used this thing, and hopefully I don't make a fool of myself building multi-blocks like I have in the past. Oh yeah, I still didn't fix this pillar here. Let's just do that right now, actually. And there was one here, I think, yeah. And also that one, but that one stays. So yeah, the excavator, it's a pretty large multi-block. We need all of these resources. And there's also this cogwheel which goes along with the multi-block. Another 9 blocks of steel and 20 scaffolding. Since we're going to be building multiple of these, it's a very good idea to set up an AE pattern. I believe this is all the resources we need for one excavator. We can just pull from JEI. And what we're going to do is rename a piece of paper to excavator. Actually, it should be a capital. Yeah, and this paper is going to be set as the primary output. So basically AE is going to think that it can craft this paper with these items here. This pattern is going to go inside this pattern provider, and it's going to put all the items we need in this chest. That way we can just pick it up easily and take it to the end with us. Let's try and get 2 excavators to start with. I know some of this stuff is going to take a while to craft. The only thing about doing this is we do have to clear the craft manually, since applied energistics will never actually get the finished product. It's all going to be in the chest, and then obviously we're going to take this and build it over here in the end dimension. Okay, book, help me out here. How does this go? Alright, this should be the final block. It's okay that it hasn't formed yet. I think we have to hit it with the hammer. Which block is it going to be though? Just hold right click and we run around. Aha, there we go. Alright, so we have an excavator. Now we have to give it some power. We can do that with our flux network. I think the power is any of these 3 ports right here. I'm not sure we're going to have enough power. That is a problem we're going to come back to in a second. The buckets are turning here though. This should start pulling up redstone soon. And I believe the backside here is the output port. Aha. We do get gravel from this thing. That's actually not ideal. Yeah, actually I would prefer if we didn't get any gravel. Cobblestone, deep slate and gravel here. I mean, it's not a huge deal. We're going to grab some ender chests here. I think we're going to choose the frequency triple black. Oh, what was that thing? Aha, we got sulfur. So at least the majority of these materials we're going to be getting, we want to process through ore processing here and smelt them down into ingots to be turned into dense plates. Which means that we want to connect over here to this drawer network where we have all the filtering already set up. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to get redstone ore or redstone dust. I would imagine dust since we got sulfur dust and not ore. Yeah, I suppose the chunks aren't loaded for us to find out, but let's filter in gravel, not endstone. I don't think we get endstone. These can all just go in a drawer on site here. And we'll make sure to give this a void upgrade so it doesn't fill the chest. So yeah, this seems to be working. All we have to do now is set up basically an excavator for each material, connect them all to the triple black ender chest, and set the filters over at ore processing. This is going to be a lot of excavators to build. I guess we do have the copy-paste gadget though. On second thought though, I think we're actually going to change our priorities here. Before we go crafting and assembling a whole lot of molly blocks we can't even power yet, we do actually have the ability to get infinite amounts of RF. Right now, the only way we generate RF is using these alternators to turn rotational force into RF. However, at least with the amount of steam engines we currently have, we're capped with 3 alternators, and 3 is nowhere near enough to power the excavators we need. So to add any more, we would have to add a lot of steam engines here, or we could craft the creative more, and that's going to give us infinite amounts of stress units, and effectively means we can add as many alternators as we need, in essence giving us infinite amounts of RF. So, as you saw with the recipe there, we are going to have to craft our first infinity catalyst, something that we should be able to manage at this point in the game actually. I did turn off the excavator. I was going to use one of these create electric motors, which turns RF back into rotational force to power this crafter setup over here. But it appears that we don't have enough RF input. So at least for the time being, we're going to set up a temporary crafter setup here. So yeah, 1 infinity catalyst is 1 of each singularity. And the singularities is going to be 12 antimatter. We are absolutely swimming in this stuff. I'm not concerned about this at all. We need singularity stars, which is more singularities from 82 we're also swimming in, and nether stars. We should be good for nether stars. This goes in the middle. And the final 8 slots is for our super dense plating right here. So we need 8 of each. So assuming we haven't messed anything up here, this should be our first singularity. The first of many. Yeah, this is going to be tedious to do manually. But we can manage if it's just one of these things. Yep, this should be the emerald. Next one is iron. Oh man, these never get old. That is so cool. And now at this point, we might as well set up recipes for the rest of this 1 infinity catalyst. We also need the incomplete infinity catalyst. Will infused source gems we have batch crafted. We currently have 68, and we also need an endest pearl. Oh yeah, that's right, this recipe also got changed in the newest patch. 4 ingots of neutronium, we have 11. Probably a lot more than that by now. An infused endest pearl. And dimensional shards, which only have a crafting recipe, but this is one of the reasons I added the prismarine bee a few episodes back. The rest of the things here we should have. Oh boy, we're kind of running out of space in our power providers here. Almost. Let's grab some neutronium. We're currently at 14. And if we haven't missed anything, we should be able to craft our first infinity catalyst. Oh, this feels good. It's been a while. It's been a long time to get the first one of these things. Hopefully the rest should follow pretty easily here. I think this is also a quest. And hopefully we have a spare engine to convert here. We have 4. There it is, the second creative item, the creative motor. With the creative motor, now I think it's excavating time. After prospecting the end dimension, we were able to get excavators running for all the materials we need for singularities and dense plating. A total of 7 were all running, feeding back to our base to run into ore processing. Afterwards, I moved back into our boiler room and swapped out the click machines for flux points and electric motors to reduce lag and also speed up the production of plating. We can use RF to run the mechanical presses much faster. After that, I crafted up some more alternators and began working on our RF engine. Alright, so hopefully with the fixes we've just implemented, we should be good for resources for these super dense plating. Oh nice, the blacksmith just finished. Thank you, Gabriel. So you know how we were completely out of redstone? Well, I realised that these lasers work on a channel system, which I understood to be the case for items, but that also applies to the redstone cards as well. So the way we control the amount of gold, for example, that gets sent in here is with the use of a level emitter behind here. This reads the contents of our AE system. If we're below 8,000 gold, then it doesn't send any more to be compressed into dense plates. This laser here has a redstone card on the back which accepts a redstone signal from the level emitter, and it's only allowed to import gold on a high signal. However, previously all of these were on channel 0, and because all the lasers are connected, if one of them was on, or basically if we just had enough iron, then it would send resources to all of these compressors. The fix though is very simple. All we have to do is make sure we're on separate redstone channels, which also corresponds to the item card channel. And yeah, it's this one up here. This is the redstone channel. This one here is the laser channel. It was quite confusing at first, but actually it makes perfect sense. So yeah, it seems that over here all the excavators are running at maximum speed, i.e. they're taking in 4096 RF per tick. And all the chunks should be loaded here, so the excavator should be running even when we're back in the overworld. Or in the nether, I guess. And yellow is for only powering these excavators, which allows us to give them all the power they need. And because they consume 4096 RF per tick each, and we have 7 of them, we have to be able to generate at least 28,672 RF per tick, which it seems our brand new RF battery here can handle. This is a total of 22 alternators, all generating RF from the creative motor right here. We send the rotational force into some encased chain drives, which basically just keeps the rotation running the same way. On every alternator we have a laser node which has an energy extraction card. There is 2 overclockers so that we can pull at least 16,000 from each. All the lasers connect via this connector back into the first laser over here, and the laser on the front here inserts all the energy into the yellow flux plug. And as we can see on the tooltip, our magic number, 28,672. I suspect that's because the power buffer is full, it's only going to pull what it can manage. It's even filled up the buffer here, which is 2 million RF storage. So I think actually all of these alternators are capable of over 30,000, so we even have some headroom if we wanted to add more excavators, which may still be on the cards. You know, I'm not actually sure if this is going to be enough or not, but I did manage to set all the filters here. We got a drawer for more or less every ore that we get from the end, and then we just have to add it to the filters here so that they go through the crate crushers and then onto the belt for smelting. The finished products end up in the ender chest, and that ends up in this drawer network here, which will eventually be turned into super dense plating. Just to get an idea of some of the speeds here, I've taken out the item card. Yeah, it's actually not too bad, to be honest. A couple of ores every second, it looks like. We also get things like prismarine and blackstone and basalt. Those, of course, as we saw, are just going into voided drawers. Oh yeah, and we are still making use of these original steam engines. These still power 3 alternators here, which go into this blue flux network, the original. And that powers things like our create setups. Our IE machines have now also been switched to flux points, away from the entangled blocks. And I believe it also powers the AE system here. So I'm actually quite happy with how the ore processing turned out. I think it's going to be sufficient, especially given the fact that we have quite a bit left to do in Inferno, including the fact that we need to wait on neutronium still. In fact, we should keep making neutron collectors. Yeah, there's 4 more. How many do we have, just out of curiosity? 7? Plus what we pulled out earlier, I think was 11 before. Yeah, still not enough. Still not enough, but we are crafting more here. This foundry is basically kept busy all the time. It might not be a bad idea to add more basins, honestly, because this is pretty slow without time in a bottle. Okay, which one of you guys is silver? Silver, is this silver, Matt? Yes, you're missing some productivity. We definitely want to add these in. And just to be safe, I'm going to add 2 more hives here, 2 more expansion boxes. We'll add a B upgrade so that we can fill these things slowly over time. Silver we do get from the excavators, but it's bundled in with lead, so it's part of the Galena vein. We don't seem to quite get enough of this, so I want to be safe and just add some more bees here. Yeah, simulators in them all, productivity in them all. We'll make sure we mark the hives since we have bee upgrades in there. We don't want them overflowing like we did with diamond last episode. Yeah, I left the upgrade in there a little bit too long and I had diamond bees flying around here everywhere. I wanted to make sure this was done early because the earlier we get the passive processes set up, the better. And hopefully it means we're not going to be left waiting on silver right at the very end. Wait, this is redstone. I can hear a bee above me. Is that one of the diamond ones I didn't catch? I definitely hear him somewhere. He is up here somewhere. I think this is right below the main intersection, right? Oh, it must be these guys I can hear, the vanilla bees. That's okay. That's fine. Alright, let me get the silver one configured here. Oh, I found the culprit here. You know who it was? It's this guy. The quartz bee. After fixing the silver bees, I also expanded the lead bees and the emerald bees, just to be safe for the future. Since we now also have flux networks powering the AE system, I want to remove this vibration chamber setup. This contributes very little power but lots of lag with all the items flowing through the pipes, so I think we're pretty safe to remove it here. At least I hope so. We are still online, we got a flux plug underneath this energy cell. So I've mentioned a few times that I want to spend some time cleaning up the mine colony before we wrap up this series. And this was actually one of the first projects we tackled on the latest livestream, episode 15.5. The ambitions for up here I feel like have definitely been dialed back a bit, in favour of the underground base, which I'm really happy with. But above ground here where the citizens are, we made some very basic changes, just cleaning up around the outsides of the buildings. And honestly, I think it makes all the difference. We're almost at a point where I'm satisfied to leave this for the end of the pack. There's still some more work I would like to do though in that regard. One of the tools we use to make this happen is the Create World Shaper. We set up another temporary crafter setup for Singularities, which allowed us to craft another Infinity Catalyst. The Infinity Catalyst we can combine in a smithing table along with a revolver, and this gives us the Create World Shaper, the third creative item. This tool is very, very powerful. It can basically exchange any block without you having to have the block you want to exchange in your inventory. So we basically exchanged all the bedrock with warped nylium. And also during the stream we decided that it was time for quest rewards. So we got all of them claimed. There was a lot of quest rewards. Some of them we could have used to be honest earlier in the pack. But yeah, we're working with a nice and clean quest book. So as you probably know, we are almost at the end of Inferno here, with our goal being once again to return back to the overworld. However, it's not as simple as walking through that portal. You see, in the time we've been in the Nether, a great evil darkness has been spreading across the overworld. And to stop the darkness, we must kill the Witherstorm, the final boss. And to do that, we were going to have to get a bit more prepared than we currently are. Our blood magic living armor that we've been wearing for the majority of the series has been very good to us actually. The problem is we can't see any enchantments or affixes. It should be fixed for you guys because we're in patch 1.1.1, but because this is from a previous version, we don't see any of the enchantments or affixes on this. And that is a problem considering we have quite a lot of room to upgrade this armor. We need to be able to see what's on this. So we really only had one option. We crafted a brand new set of living armor. Now this did mean going through the whole ritual process again from blood magic. First of all, activating the Ritual of Living Evolution to give us the 300 upgrade points on the armor set. This should allow us to upgrade it to the maximum and basically transfer all the skills from our existing armor set onto the new version. So we break down the Living Evolution ritual and set up the Sound of Cleansing Soul. This one allows us to remove the upgrade tomes from our existing armor and transfer it onto the new one, without us having to train the skills again. And we just went for the exact same traits. But we can't stop here, right? This isn't really much of an upgrade, so it was time for some enchanting. So for the enchanting setup, we started with some upgrades, getting some more bookshelves. This can help us raise our enchanting capabilities. And the experience for all this enchanting had come from our bees. We had amassed around 300 levels in our experience obelisk. We used that with not much success just to blind roll the armor. That didn't really work out, so we put it through the grindstone and we tried a different method. Randomly enchanting the armor did leave us with some unfavourable enchants, including life mending, which will basically chip away at your HP to repair the armor. Obviously not ideal when we're dealing with massive amounts of damage. Life mending though cannot be removed with the grindstone. We can use the prismatic cobweb. In which one of these items do you think we use it in? The smithing table or the anvil? Try the web and the anvil. We just tried it. We can try it again if you really want. Nothing. Oh, the anvil, the anvil. The anvil. Guys. It's late, okay? Yes, congratulations if you said the anvil. Anyways, we managed to get the life mending off the armor, and instead of blindly enchanting, we decided to use the enchanting library from Apotheosis. This thing can allow us to customize the enchanted books based on what we put in. We spent probably too long enchanting this armor, but we eventually came up with something I think we can use here. Yeah, the most important part was to get a decent amount of protection, unbreaking, and mending on all the armor, which I think we achieved here. Protection 7 on the living boots. Blast protection 8, stable footing and unbreaking 9. That's a really nice set of boots there. Leggings is a very similar story, unbreaking 9, mana boost. Mending, projectile protection 10 and protection 7. Also a very decent set of leggings. The chest piece here is very, very nice. This time we have protection and fire protection on this one. And you know what? I actually just realized we're missing unbreaking on the chest piece here. That was a bit of an oversight. We also lost a lot of our levels here. We only have 105. It should definitely be enough for us to get unbreaking though. Yeah, we got a couple unbreaking 5s, we can combine these in the anvil. Double unbreaking 6. 2 of these make unbreaking 7. Yeah, we can put this on the chest piece for unbreaking 7. We have a couple of these ancient tomes which we got from our villager. The armorer villager, Pulselane, actually sells us +1 level to unbreaking for 8 dark gems. That's a really nice deal. That puts us up to unbreaking 8, unbreaking 9. Which I think is the highest we can go. Yeah, maximum is unbreaking 9. And yeah, finally the helmet, which is a very similar story. Very, very solid piece of armor right here. So now we're ready, right? Well, not exactly. We can go a bit further than this. We can also craft up and use the so-called socket sigil to roll a random amount of gem slots for Apotheosis. So we used the sigil a few times on each armor piece. We got 2 on each piece, except for the boots which only have 1. We are yet to actually fill these socket slots though. We only have 1 + 12 max HP, which is really, really nice. On top of the healthy trait that we already have, I think we're rocking purple hearts actually. Yeah, I think now that we've regenerated, I think we have more than 50 hearts on us. That's insanely powerful, considering we'll also have a heal spell from Ars Nouveau. So we're done here now, right? We're ready for the boss fight? Well, we can go one step further. So I don't know how far we're going to get with this episode. It's going to be quite involved, but I think it's going to be worth it. This is going to be so much fun. Even if we don't end up needing all of this, it's still worth doing because it's fun. Yeah, so also during the livestream, we managed to make our helmet and the chest piece a mythic item. Actually, I think this is only legendary. And as you can see here, when we're attacked, we gain instant health too. That is completely nuts. That is insane. And I think it's the same story for the chest piece. We have to lower our GUI scale actually. The tooltip just doesn't fit. The chest piece is that good. Yeah, magic damage reduced by 14%. When attacked, gain instant health too. That's completely bonkers. So obviously we want to do the same thing for the leggings and the boots, right? We might as well go all out. The trouble is, in order to do this, we do need to scrap existing pieces of armor, and we've basically scrapped everything that we held onto that was actually worth scrapping. I don't think we've kept really anything else of value. A lot of this other stuff in here is just garbage from the early game. So we have a couple of ways I'm thinking we can go about doing this. Let's take some soul shards here, actually. Maybe 64 is a bit much. And actually, there was one of those swords with soul steel. I assume I would have put it in the backpack, but I can't remember. We're back to this backpack problem again. Wait a second. I forgot about these shields right here. This is another legendary item. Okay, okay, wait a second. Okay, how do we want to do this? That kind of startled me a bit. Okay, first of all, there's something called Mimicream. A few of you guys have pointed this out to me. Thank you, by the way. We can actually use this in the crafting table within a piece of armor, and this duplicates it, with 0 durability, of course, but it does duplicate it. Are you guys thinking what I'm thinking? We can use this to duplicate the shield, which is legendary. And then for us to make the living set legendary, we can come over to the scrapping table, the salvaging table as it's called from Apotheosis. Actually, I'm going to put away my own gear. I don't want to scrap the sword or the bow, just to be safe. That would be a Thaumcraft moment right there if that happened. So we put the legendary broken shield inside the salvaging table. This is going to give us God-forged pearls. Yeah, this one here is a mythic gem. There's various levels to these depending on which type of item you scrap. If we were to scrap this bow, we would get a common gem. Then we have to use the reforging table. This takes any sort of rarity item. The higher the rarity you put in here, the better affixes you're going to get. We also need something called gem dust. Gem dust we can get from scrapping all of these gems here. Like 20% speed, we don't really need this. we can actually put this through the crusher for a chance at 2 gem dust. There's other ways to get these as well. But yeah, we'll crush this just so we get enough for this. Oh, would you look at that? We already had some. Yeah, we've got 10 gem dust. And similar to enchanting, we're also going to need a decent amount of levels for this. Uh-oh. That's right, I forgot I used all of this recklessly with the anvil. Yeah, that is a very big problem actually. But there might be a solution. I just remembered that we also have these create nuggets of experience. We get these from crushing various ores through the crushing wheels. I don't know how much EXP these are going to give us, but hopefully this can save us. Okay, a level for a stack. This might have actually just saved us big time. We have 400 stacks of these, like 29,000. I think it's 75 levels maximum for the salvaging table. Wow, I can't believe this. Okay, it's slightly more for our stack per level now that we're over 50. Yeah, so now that we have the armor, the pearl, the gem dust, and the levels to do this, this is how we make it mythic. Although, as you can see here, it takes, similar to lapis in the enchanting table, we need 6 pearls if we wanted to do this enchant. So, to get more of the pearls, we have to get more mimicry to basically duplicate the shield, right? I mean, either that or we could find more shields, but these mythic items aren't so easy to come by. And how do we get more mimicry? Well, we have to find mobs in the end dimension. Somewhere. I know I've seen them before. I think they spawn in these structures here. And this was the original plan, by the way, before I found that shield. I'm really hoping we can get some soul shards and get a spawner for these guys. I mean, otherwise I'm going to have to farm them manually, which I don't mind doing. We don't need a whole lot of these things, but yeah, I think I've raided all these before. There's apparently I missed dragon scales. Yeah, there's not a whole lot here. I think I got everything though. Yeah, and there's some strange mobs in the end here. I don't know what adds it. There's these spiders that teleport at you. But these are not the mobs that drop mimicry. We're looking for mimics, I think is what they're called. They look a bit like shulkers. Let's see if we can find some here. This end dimension is absolutely glorious with the shaders. It's so good. Aha, we came across another structure. It looks like I've not been here. Those chests are unopened. Anything good? No. Hey, we'll take the gems though. The gems are going to be very useful for gem dust. Lots and lots of shulkers here. And hopefully good loot. Oh yeah, and there's this guy here. I have no idea what this guy's doing. Yeah, I think we should be able to see them inside vanilla strongholds. I remember seeing them in those tall towers. I don't know if one of these has it. Oh, I think this is another mythic item. I've been flying around a little bit. We got a few more gems here. Various bits and pieces. Some garbage. But yeah, maybe this is a better strategy to go for. Maybe just try to find the mythic items. Since we're not looking for anything specific, it just has to be a good rarity for us to scrap. Aha, we got one. Right here is the mimic. This guy right here. So the thing about this guy is he will actually copy the armor that we're wearing. So because we're geared out here, he's gonna actually... No! Did we manage to find another mimicry? Well, find out next episode. We are gonna wrap up this one here. Hopefully with our improvements here, we're not gonna be waiting on dense plating. Oh yeah, we're at 11 stacks, wow. At least for some of this stuff. Emerald is very lacking here at 2 stacks. Wow, I'm surprised. Anyways, thank you if you tuned into the live stream again. I had so much fun there. And from me for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Inferno.